Okay, in all of this, like these questions of like, should I continue the podcast? Is this something that I want to do? Over these past months, I have found my yes. I have realized that yes, I do want to continue the podcast because the idea of not doing the podcast feels wrong. It feels like it would feel like cutting off a limb. That was a little bit dramatic.
Okay. 1, 2, ready, go.
Welcome to the Called to Be Bad podcast. My name is Mariah Martin, and I feel called to be bad. It turns out I'm not the only one. Join us as we dig into all things bad, scandalous, deviant, you know, the stuff that makes good church folks squirm in the sanctuary. Why? Well, because sometimes the scandalous is spiritual, deviant is divine, and bad is beautiful. Say yes to the call, and let's see what holy trouble we get into today. Hey baddies, I just filmed this update video, and I realized when I was done that the entire time I was talking, my microphone was backwards, so the audio was really weird. So this is take 2. Welcome back to the Called to Be Bad podcast. Welcome after about 6 months. It has been 6 months since I released an episode, and so I guess I took like an accidental 6-month break from the podcast. I did not mean to take a break. It was just kind of how life happened, how life unfolded. So today I wanted to do just a quick update on my life, what has been going on these past few months, what is happening with the podcast, and actually touch base with you all. I've gotten a few messages saying, is the podcast still happening? And I feel really bad about that. I did not at all mean to ghost you all. I'm going to say right now that I will tell you if I have decided to stop making the podcast. If Called to Be Bad has just run its course, I will tell you. So if you don't hear from me, know that that means that there is stuff going on behind the scenes. There is stuff going on. I have not quit the podcast, and there is more to come. So these past 6 months, I have gone to Colorado twice. The first one was over the 1-year anniversary of my mom passing. So Nick and I spent 2 weeks, including travel, in Colorado, being with my sister and my dad, spending time in places that my mom loved, and just having quality family time. So that was one trip to Colorado. The second trip was to Rocky Mountain Mennonite Camp, which is, if you know me, you know that's like my favorite place in the whole entire universe. And I was asked to come and speak for a winter women's retreat. And it was so fun because I got to see my friends Lauren and Leah and kind of have a friend reunion. But I also was able to speak about topics that I'm really passionate about. We talked about how to have hard conversations, how to talk about hard things, and what to do with the emotions and kind of body responses that come when we talk about hard things. So that was really great. I also got to go snowshoeing and snow tubing. Fantastic, wonderful. It was great. Also, I don't think I've said on the podcast before, but I am currently taking a spiritual direction class, so a class to teach me how to be a spiritual director. For those of you who don't know what a spiritual director is, basically it is someone that, this is my favorite way of saying what I do as a spiritual director. It is my job to help create a safe space for wisdom to emerge. I am not telling you what to do with your spiritual life. I am not directing you in that way. But I have learned through this class how to listen well. Like, we all know how important it is to be a good listener. You know, we learn about active listening, but in this class, I've actually learned what to listen for when people are talking. And it's been a really wonderful class. I'm going to say wonderful like a million times during this podcast, but it is what it is. It has been a wonderful class and opportunity. So if any of you are looking for a spiritual director or want to know more about what that means, you can reach out. You can email me, calledtobebad@gmail.com. or message me on Instagram or Facebook. I probably would see if you messaged me quicker than if you emailed me, because email is not one of my strengths, but I will see it and I will get back to you. So yeah, spiritual direction class, I'm going to turn in my final reflection paper in May. So that has been occupying my time. I've had 3 kind of guinea pig directees. We've been meeting to help me practice my skills, listening skills. And yes, you guessed it. It has been wonderful. So yeah, gone to Colorado. I'm doing this class. I'm still doing a lot of crochet. I was able to sell my crochet plushies at a Dungeons and Dragons event. It was called Goshen Dungeons and Dragons, which is just like right up my alley. It was so much fun. And I have a few more crochet shows lined up. So still doing crochet. And yeah, I'm also just doing the daily pastoral thing, preaching, pastoral care, etc., which I am just part of a really wonderful community, and so I'm really grateful for that. Yeah, so that's I mean, there's a lot. I do dog sitting and dog walking and just like all the things, but I love it. So that has been this past 6 months in a nutshell. And what is interesting is that during this time, I have been haunted, plagued, something with the question of, should I keep doing the podcast? Is this something that I want to continue? And I think part of why this question has kept popping up is because putting out the podcast is really hard. It's hard work. It takes time, mental energy. You know, I'm scheduling interviews, I'm doing the editing, I'm doing sound editing if things go wrong, I'm writing the descriptions. Like most people have podcast production teams where each person does different parts. You know, they have a social media manager, and I am trying to do all of that. Because I can't really afford to outsource that. And because I really like doing it. But part of like, I don't know if it's ADHD or executive function, like sometimes because there's no like deadline, because I am the one setting the deadlines for these episodes, there's no one telling me, you must do this or you're going to fail. You must do this or whatever, insert whatever punishment. Like it is up to me. And I've realized that is hard for me if there is no deadline or accountability. And Nick kept saying, he's like, you just need more help. You need support. Like, this is a lonely venture. And it doesn't feel lonely, but it does feel hard to just do the work. So I have finally put together the Baddie Council. And so we have a little group chat, and we're going to meet monthly, do monthly Zoom meetings. And that will be a space for dreaming, brainstorming, and accountability that I can say, like, I'm going to have this, this, and this done by our next meeting. And so I'm really excited. It is a wonderful group of people. And if you are like, hey, I want to be part of this Baddie Council, this wonderful group of people, you can still reach out. We can make room. The more the merrier. And again, you can just email me, calledtobebad@gmail.com. And so that is something that I'm put in place as kind of a support system. I meant to say earlier, okay, in all of this, like these questions of like, should I continue the podcast? Is this something that I want to do? Over these past months, I have found my yes. I have realized that, yes, I do want to continue the podcast, because the idea of not doing the podcast feels wrong. It feels like, it would feel like cutting off a limb. That was a little bit dramatic, but I've realized that this podcast is central, is core to who I am as a person, and it is part of my calling. I mean, called to be bad, you know, like that it's in the name, but it is part of my vocation and my calling, and it is something that would feel wrong to not continue doing. So part of my pivoting, my shifting going forward is having the Baddie Council, is having more support in doing this podcast, and also shifting my mindset from like, this is what I'm going to do as a job, this is going to provide income, this is like a business, to really just realizing like this is passion, this is vocation, this is calling. And so you can still become a patron. You can still support me financially, but I am just like mentally shifting of like, okay, does not have to be how I make money. This is something I do because I love it, and I don't have to have this like business mindset of like, how can I make this profitable? Because it would just take a different form of energy and skill set that I don't have right now to make it a business. But that doesn't mean that the podcast is going anywhere at this point. And I have still been chipping away at the podcast. I have recorded several episodes. I said this on the Anabaptist World live stream, but if you didn't see it, the premiere episode of season 4 is going to be with a girl named Tom, and we're going to talk about fame, what it means to be famous and have a big platform. And yes, I was supposed to put that episode in December while they were doing their Christmas tour, but that didn't happen. So I'm sorry, girl named Tom, but it's still going to air and be wonderful. So that's coming in season 4. I also talked with Trey Ferguson about online church communities. If you don't know who Trey is, you have to find him on Instagram. Look him up. He is fabulous. And he wrote the book Theologizing Bigger. And so we discussed his book and his online church. I also filmed an episode with Luke Wilson, who curated a series of essays on conversion therapy into a really stunning book. And so in that episode, we get to hear his experience of conversion therapy. And I say therapy in quotes because we all should know that it's not a legitimate therapy, but that's the name most people know it by. And so we get to hear a little bit about his experience and also hear some of the stories from the book. And finally, today, I still am kind of in shock and can't quite believe it happened. I filmed an episode with Nobel Peace Prize nominee Issa Amro, who is a Palestinian Muslim man working for nonviolent resistance against Israeli occupation and Israeli settlers. And I co-hosted that with Anna Diaz-Laux, who is part of Michiana Voices for Middle East Peace. And she hosted an event with Issa, and then I got together with her and I was like, is there any way, like, how can the podcast support Michiana Voices? And she was like, well, do you want to have Issa on the podcast? And I was like, yes, yes, I do. And it was incredible. So I'm really excited to get these episodes out to you. That was just a few of them. So there's more to come. And one other shift that I want to make with the podcast is I would like to put out episodes in a more timely manner. So like before, I was batch recording episodes within like 2 or 3 month span of time and then releasing them over the next year or a year and a half. I'm still sitting on 2 episodes that are now like a year and a half old. So I'll have those final 2 episodes of season 3 and then I'll move into season 4. And so some of these season 4 episodes are a couple months old. But after I put those out, I would like to record an episode and then release it that week or the next week or something like that. So that is another shift that I'm trying to put into place. But yeah, that's my past 6 months. I am ever grateful for your support, for your encouragement, all your kind words, all of your messages, everything. Every time someone says to me something nice about the podcast, it just like increases my motivation and passion. And yeah, I am a words of affirmation girly, so say nice things to me. I don't know. Anyways, you get the idea. I am very excited to bring you season 4 and continue working with the podcast. You all have my heart. And as always, keep being bad and beautiful. Bye. That's all for this episode of Called to Be Bad. Keep being your bad, beautiful selves, and I will see you next time.